have your fear, which might become reality. And you have Godzilla, which is reality.
I'm sick of Godzilla.
Wake up, everyone!
There are two things you don't know about the Earth. One is me, and the other is Godzilla.
We're safe enough. No human being can understand that. The monsters on Monster Island can understand it.
Whether he returns or not, or is never again seen by human eyes, the things he has taught us remain.
Hello, everybody. We are back. YHS on Monster Island. Man, we watched Varan. Some of us for the first time. Jay, I'm assuming you've seen this movie before. We got a lot of toy news we're going to talk about, some pickups.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to get into it. But first, Jay, how's it going, dude?
It's going good. And yes, I've seen Varan too many times to count it. I'll talk about that
Really?
when we get to that.
Okay.
And why I am the pure definition of insanity. But we'll talk about that in a bit. But I'm doing good. It's been a crazy day, not kaiju related, not toy related, not Godzilla related, just life related. And but I'm super pumped to be here chatting about all the fun toy news because there's lots of good stuff, dude, and pickups and Varan and everything.
Yeah, dude, that's one of my favorite things about doing this show with you is that I don't, I see toy news, just through my own feeds and stuff like that, but you always have stuff that I missed, and it's exciting to just kind of get to sit back and be like, Jay, show me toys.
Hey, that's fine. I like that rule because I like showing people toys, and also it's like, it's good for me because honestly, like some of the stuff I'm like, oh, I definitely got to talk about the new Marusan releases this week, or talk about the new blah 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 releases. But when I comb through that and get the pictures and stuff like that, there's like 50% of them. I'm like, oh, I didn't even see that one yet. Oh my gosh! And then and then the other pieces, I might see them and say, oh, that's cool. But then when you put the numbers and how to get them and is this accessible? Is it not? Then it's like, oh, I might just have to buy this. So yeah, it's my pleasure, my friend, my pleasure.
Yeah. We'll do pickups first.
We got Kaiju pickups. Oh, what a glorious day. Oh, Kaiju pickups. With our host, Jacob and Jay. Rock on! Yes!
Jay, I have no pickups this week. I did, though. You know what? I think Kaiju pickups are going to be a little scarce until Japan.
Same.
I did pick up something today. I won't reveal what it is here on the show. You already know, but I did pick up something that was on a top 10 wish list, not this year's list, but last year's list. So, or maybe even the list before last year. I don't know. It's been on a top 10 list of mine multiple times, but
hey, Jake, you know what? So
What's
to
up?
continue the trend from last week or last recording, where I'm starting to copy you. I copied you and got the sorry. I'm copying you because one of my pickups is from a wish list, not this year, but last year. And
wow.
That last year I think it was. So so I'm once again I'm copying you. I'm just everything.
Well, dude, let's get into it. Let's see your pickups, man. Go for it.
So I have 3, and they're 3 really amazing pieces. I absolutely love these. These are not space fillers. These are not. I can't wait to have this in my collection. This is I can't wait to have this in my collection. And I will start by double downing on that theme in the Jay is just trying to be Jacob Walsh theme. And I got another thing that was one of your big pickups from Decon. You loved it. I just couldn't stop thinking about it after we left. I was like, oh my gosh, that thing is so awesome. Like, why didn't I pick it up? And I was able to snag one. Luckily, I think they had maybe one blank left, and the artist was nice enough to paint it up and send it over. I am so thrilled because it's just, it was one of the coolest pieces that you picked up. And I think one of the coolest pieces of Decon, and that, of course, was some Mecha Milk. So I was able to get a Mecha Milk. I just adore it. It's so good. I almost like, I hate myself for not just like grabbing it there. It was one of those things like I don't know. It's like almost like Jake got it. It's amazing. It's awesome. They must all be gone. And I knew they weren't all gone. I don't know. My brain didn't work for a few moments there. But yeah, I mean, it's just
you have
amazing.
to have it. I think that's probably my favorite pickup of Decon, Jay. That's such a cool toy, and I'm excited to continue that line with them. I know they have more stuff coming really soon. So
yeah, and I pre-ordered the next release, so I was really excited about
I have not pre-ordered it yet, which sucks because that means I missed the early bird pricing for it. Yeah, there was a discount, but I will be picking it up.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's beautiful. The colors are beautiful. Everything that you said about it previously holds true, and it's great. So I was really excited to get that. The other piece I got, and this one isn't even open. I just got it. Well, technically it came in yesterday, but I just grabbed it a few moments ago, and so I would say an on-air unboxing, but like it's just taking a header card off. But from our good buddies over at Caractix, we love Caractix. They do amazing stuff. They have some of the funniest, zaniest, wackiest stuff in the world. But I was able finally to pick up a Godzilla with holding Minya in the rocking chair.
Oh, Jay. I'm glad you have that because I was actually having a conversation earlier today with Jess about how big these things are because I couldn't tell. I saw you have one on the site on Toku.
Not anymore. Not anymore.
Is that it?
They sold. No.
Okay, it's sold.
The other one was.
I saw it on the site and I sent it to her and I was like, "Hey, you should buy this." But very cool, man. That's an awesome toy, dude.
Yeah, it's about 4.5 inches tall. I think 4 inches tall, something like that. It's in that kind of Caractix scale, like almost all their stuff, the tanks and everything. But it's so cool. The head even has a little bit of mobility there. You can turn him where he's like, no, I don't want to talk to him. Love him, and not so much. The Minya is so cute.
Oh yeah, love that.
But yeah, this was really cool. The other one I had was a lighter pink Godzilla. It was almost the color of the rocking chair here, and a gray rocking chair. But this is so cool. Love this one so much. So much.
Love that, dude. Very cool.
Once these kind of got released, I kind of knew I was going to get one. It was just a matter of grabbing. Yeah, this is the one I like. And now the other thing is kind of a big pickup for me. It's a figure that was number 2, I think, on my list last year. I had already bought this when we were doing the top 10 this year, so I didn't want to kind of cheat and say, okay, because I kind of knew it was coming, so I just threw it in the honorable mention. And it was one that we had for Figure of the Year last year, one of the nominees. It is, I think, one of my favorite pieces of Godzilla sofubi that I own. Now, I've had this sculpt, I just had it in a different color. But I've always wanted this one. I just never was able to find it. And I got it at a really, really good price relative to what it is, to what you've seen out there. Not the crazy prices you see, even on like the Japanese auction sites, the crazy prices. So from NeoPlayerOne, I got my first release of Godzilla 64. I got the blue. And I had the pink one before. I sold that once this was in hand and it wasn't a bootleg or wasn't, destroyed or anything. And I love the pink one. Don't get me wrong. It was awesome. The sculpt is great. But this one, was what kind of, honestly, when I saw this a couple years ago when NeoPlayerOne kind of first got the Toho license and started doing things, this was kind of the piece I was like, oh my God, this company is like disrupting the system. Like they are for better, for worse, for whatever people, accessibility or not, like they are changing the game, shifting the paradigm on what the Godzilla sofubi landscape. And this one to me is just kind of like the quintessential piece of that. And because it was like the first one that I saw that I absolutely fell in love with. So I was glad to actually put it in the collection finally.
Yeah. These are the best colors too. So
yeah, I just love it. I just love it. Absolutely love it. It's beautiful. I mean, he pairs well with the mecha milk, They pair well with the mecha milk.
Yeah. Dairy-free mecha milk.
But their stuff is so good. And yeah, even though it technically doesn't count as a top 10, it's still, to me, it's top 10 in my heart.
Kind of, yeah.
Top 10 in my heart.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, Jade, did you say that's all you had?
Those are all three that I had. Yes.
Did you show off the guy that's on your top shelf there? Did you show that off on an episode on this
the
way?
Pigmon?
Yeah. Did we do that?
I thought we did.
Did you show
them
off last week? Maybe you did. I don't remember.
Well, if I didn't, he's awesome. I'll do it again because it's worth it.
I thought maybe you did, but I'm forgetting if you actually showed that off on the show or not.
I can't remember either. If not, then also one of my favorite toy pickups of 2020. I don't know when this actually came in. 24, I guess. From Mascot, not their mascote line or whatever they call it. That I got the Mirror Man and the Ultra 7. We got a Decon. Toy Cube was selling them from Hong Kong. It's a Hong Kong company, and they have this amazing Super I license, and they're starting a line called Kaiju, like MASKAIJU, masking the portmanteau of mask and kaiju. And this is this amazing Pigmon wearing the Ultraman costume. So I can only imagine what they're going to do next, right? Is it, Ultra 7 takes off the mask and it's, I don't know, Alien Cheeble or something. No, it could be amazing. So, but this is one of my favorite toys. Like, this is just, I love this. It's quirky and crazy. It's goofy looking, and it's also like I wouldn't say it's a mashup because they're obviously in the same universe, but like, it's just a funny take on it.
Yeah, but it's just fun. Jay, I feel like
comes out the bath.
Yeah, I think you hadn't showed this off on the show yet because I feel like this is my first time seeing these. The back of him and stuff. So.
It's so well done. I mean, even the eyes on the Ultraman mask. I mean, it is.
Yeah. It's chunky too.
It is. Well, you remember the Tokusatsu heroes because you picked them up for me at Decon.
They're
bigger. I'll say the difference between that line and this one, because this one the sculptor's different for this one, I believe. And this one is heavier. Like those were kind of almost like they're bigger, but they were lighter, right?
Yeah.
This one feels doesn't feel like it's resin type heavy, but it's a heavier piece, and it's it's great. It's really, really, really well done. It's wonderful. So I'm excited to see what they do next with this line. Hopefully, it's not a one and done, and they do some more because this thing it's ridiculous. I love it.
Awesome.
It's truly like if we did a top 10 pickups from this year or last year, it would be right at the top. Like
that's the kind
of one or two.
That's the kind of thing where if they would have actually had that at the show like they were planning on, I probably would have bought it too. Seeing it in person, it's like, it's such a good toy.
Yeah. I
glad you got that.
This is one of my favorite. Yeah, even though I technically didn't get it from Decon, it's still one of my favorite pickups from Decon.
Yeah.
You filled out the order form at the booth for me, so thank you.
I did.
Thank you, Jacob.
Hey, it's really fun buying toys with somebody else's credit card, dude. It was because it kind of feels like you're buying toys. It like kind of scratches the itch. I'm like, oh, cool. I'm buying 3 toys here, but they're all yours.
But I don't get to keep them.
I had fun doing that. I can't wait to do that at next Decon.
I know. Oh, let's not. I've been actually thinking about next year's Decon, not the setup or anything. I'm going to just what the other people are going to have, and like what new artists and vendors are going to be there.
Yeah.
Let me put them right back up. Hold on one second.
Yeah, go for it.
Ooh, yeah, I love that guy. One of my favorites. I'm glad you called me out on that. I couldn't remember.
I don't think we showed it off. So I don't think we did. So good. Well, dude, good as always. Your pickups are always amazing, and I love them. And
thank you.
It's always good stuff, dude. So listen, we're gonna get right into some toys here. I am very interested to get to this Varan talk because I gotta know, your personal thoughts on this film, but before that, we're gonna look at some more toys. Jay,
oh my gosh, yes, so many more.
Let's do it.
Yeah, and hey, real quick on the Varan, my thoughts are not only going to be said; they are in writing on slides.
I'm really, I'm very intrigued because I'm kind of confused.
It will make sense. It will make sense. I promise. Okay. As much as I make sense. So, okay. Some stuff that always makes sense is toys. So we will talk some
the only thing in this world that makes sense.
The only thing that makes sense. So hey, we did have a Superfest. Superfest 90 was a 1 day at the Science Museum in Tokyo, and there were some heavy hitters there and some really cool stuff. I think there's some showing out by some people. Marusan did some showing out, brought some really cool stuff. Some really nice releases. So hey, let's talk lucky bags and let's get lucky with Marusan. So they did their 350 lucky bag, their New Year's lucky bag, and they had a couple sculpts that we know very well, the Shin Godzilla 4th and 2nd form, but also they brought back an 89. Haven't seen an 89 in a while. And so they did the scorching versions for the Shins, a clear pink and blue and a clear pink and green for the 89 and the Shins. So you could get any combination of these. I believe you would get a pair in the lucky bag, and they're amazing. They're already hitting the shelves, on the secondhand market, those virtual shelves. In fact, I even already sold some stuff from Superfest, and that happened 3 days ago. So I won't tell you my secrets, but yes, it's really cool stuff. I'm excited to get an 89. I am going to pick up one of the clear 89s. I don't know which one to keep in the collection. So that means one of these bad boys over here will be coming out so I can maintain 89. But I really do like the clear pink and the blue and the greens are great too. So Marusan, that was kind of their main event. That's what they hit us with first, like bam, lucky bags. But they had an advanced sale on the hat. But guess what? Right after Superfest ended, and I included in here, there is international ordering available now, so you can get it in the US. You can order this. So the pre-order does close in about a week. So people get on it. Go to the Marusan Instagram page, find this post, and they tell you, you email them and I forgot what the title is, and they will send it. It's $160 plus shipping, and you will get one of these hats, and you can be just like Kaminaga-san and just like our buddy Chaz Foreman, who sported this for the entire Decon weekend. But yeah, so it is not only Superfest was the advanced sell in Japan. We know that they had a few of them at Decon early, but the official international release is now. Pre-order. They're awesome. And it's the King Godress of the Maruman line. So love it. So that was some big news. So you had the lucky bag, you had the hat of doom, and then you had a crap ton of Marugachas. Both Maruman Marugachas and Toho Marugachas, including some of the newer sculpts like the Minya and the King Caesar and stuff. So really cool stuff there. And then you also had the big giant finger puppets, the Maruman finger puppets, and some new colorways and stuff thrown out. So Marusan, their table just had a lot of stuff.
Really love their finger puppets, dude.
Yeah.
I want to. I picked up the one at Decon, but every time I see them now, I'm just like, oh, I want more of these. They're great.
Yeah, they're awesome, and they're not going to stop. We talk about Marusan. They're obviously one of the iconic brands over there, but M1, they're just as high up there on the list. And Nishimura's like, I love this one. He went to Superfest, and he basically just brought like 40 or 50 of like 3 of his most popular releases that these aren't new, but they sell out in like 2 seconds every time. I mean, G-Fest last year, I got one of the I got the Mechagodzilla trike, and the other ones were sold out in like moments. So he's releasing one of the glow in the dark GMKs, and he's releasing the trikes for both the Fake Godzilla and the Godzilla 74 that pair very nicely together. So he had like 30 or 40 of those. I'm sure they sold out in like 20 minutes. Sure. But he did give everybody at least another fighting chance to get them. And I'm hoping at G-Fest next year he brings even more, because he brings a lot of.
I want one of these GMKs.
Yeah,
the sculpt has really like been climbing its way into my brain the last couple of months.
I want that Halloween one. I want the Halloween
one. That was partly what did it. Seeing all those Halloween ones, I was like, oh, and then kind of hoping that they were gonna maybe be at Decon. We were kind of got.
We hyped ourselves up for like 17 hours. We're like, oh, and M1 GMK.
Yeah,
gonna be there. But alas, it was not. But we'll have another chance. And so M1, thank you. But I've become a huge fan of Yamomark. I have some Yamomark stuff. Their Siabozu, I think, is still the best one out there. And they unveiled 2 new items. They unveiled a Kimular and a Zoffy. But then they've done this in a few colorways. Their Black Pigeon from Ultraman Ace. Obviously, it's the one that's
Love
pigeon.
Love Black Pigeon.
Yeah, they do really cool stuff. And, Yamomarks, they're great. They're like usually 5 to 7 inches tall or long. They're not priced poorly. Even on the secondhand market, even the US prices, like you're never usually paying more than $80 to $100 for these, and even like the really cool ones, and they're always worth it. They're so good. They're well done. We don't talk about, not just me and you, like the universal we don't talk enough about Yamomark. I think they do really great stuff. Yeah, they're really good stuff, and these are no exception.
Yeah, dude, I love that Black Pigeon, dude. I need him to go with my weird Kaiju collection I'm putting together.
Hey, more Ultraman Ace for you. Yeah, more Ultraman Ace for you.
Hey, you know what? I need to start watching Ultraman Ace a little more.
There's some weird ones. Hey, man, we love USToys. We always love USToys. They were at Superfest, and they hit us with some really new stuff. The coolest 2 things I want to call out: that big shampoo bottle sized Canagon in the middle that's like clear vinyl with like white chips. It almost looks like white chocolate
popcorn.
flakes.
Yeah, it's like he's got popcorn or something inside of him.
Yeah, it's really cool. But also on the wings there, on the sides, you'll see those 2 Siabozus, 2 different, one with his hands behind his back, whatever, and then one him kind of squatting. Those they only had a handful of. USToys Siabozu is like, it's right up there with the Yamomark. Their Siabozu is always great. I absolutely adore these. I feel like less of a human because I don't own a Siabozu from USToys, so I need to remedy that. So that's gonna be something I want to do at. Hopefully they bring some to G Fest because I'll buy like 12 of them.
Yeah, I was actually talking to Jess the other day about how I'm very excited to get some more USToys in my collection, and I almost put USToys shampoo bottles in my top 10 this year just because they're just it's just that speaks to me, those sculpts, the style.
G Fest, it's awesome because he literally just has like a 6-foot card table, and he just has, you can imagine, he lays the building blocks, things down, and just like it just fills the whole table up, and you're just looking down like
you just walk by. Bloop, bloop, bloop.
There's like there's 12 Gearons, and there's a Gauss, and there's this. And it literally, like, you can tell he just grabs probably like as he's walking out the door to catch the flight, whatever's closest to his luggage, because like this year, like they were all from like 2007. It's like, these are the extras from that year, like it's crazy. Nuts. But it's really fun, and they're all like $40 to $60. And you can just go down the line. So good. I hope he brings some Siabozu, because if he does, I'll buy all of them. They didn't have any Gilala last year. My streak was snapped. I usually get at least 1 or 2 USToys. I did last year. I got the Barugan. Never mind. I was like, I don't think I picked up any USToys last year. No, I did. Oh, ignore me. Okay, so Superfest, still rocking and rolling. A lot of guys we know and we love. Hey, these weren't on sale, but these were official prototypes. The prototypes were actually there, the physical prototypes at Superfest. And Inca, their Godzilla 54 is great. But now they're doing the Godzilla 62. They're doing the Space Godzilla, both as part of their what they call their long neck series. And then they have the smaller ones. They're doing a Draculos and a Bimstar from Return of Ultraman. So really cool. I love the Bimstar. I really do. He's one of my favorites. The wackiness of Space Godzilla with the crystals coming out of his neck is just so funky.
So ridiculous.
But I love what Inca's doing. I think they are going to be. I'm not saying that they're going to do what NeoPlayerOne did, but I
they
really
are. These are going to be impossible to get.
They're good, and they're just disrupting. It's something totally different, totally unique, and I absolutely adore them. I think they're great, and I can't wait to see the final renditions of these.
Same.
It's gonna be great. So
love all these.
I did. Like I said, I wanted to mention it, even though they were on sale. I think it's worth noting there's the photos of their setup with these they're out there. I couldn't find a really good clear one. So I just pulled these from their site, and they have other ones too. These aren't the only ones. These are just the ones that I thought were probably most appealing to our listeners. But here's some other fun items, dude. these are kind of don't fit in any certain bucket. These are ones that I think that we would all like. So first, of course, anything that's Pigmon-esque and goofy and weird. How about Tofu Monster, the Armont? They've done these a few times, but these new kind of transparent pink and purple looking wacky dudes. I love how they're like the side eye. I love it.
Yeah.
So great.
Kind of cross-eyed looking.
Yeah. And the other one's like, hey dude, what's going on?
I'm into it.
Love that. So, and then for me, I love these kind of like the vintage Henshin Hero Tokusatsu star type look. And this Toro's Toys does this Spaceman. This is V15. It has like little missiles that come out like those on the tips. They actually are like individual accessories, but it's just kind of like classic, almost Pachi style superhero Tokusatsu star called Spaceman, which is a great name. So I love that one. And then the last one, I thought this was so cool. We love like I know you and Jess and our friend Abby from YHS, like y'all love like your cat, your Nagoras and all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Well, this Trash Goods, who does amazing stuff, this is their Mysterious Beast Pepes. And it's, I don't know what else, but it's essentially like a Baragon cat. Done in the old Bullmark style of Baragon with the colors and everything. So I think it looks awesome. And it's big. It's real big. It's like 9 inches tall. So really cool stuff. So Superfest, it wasn't just the big guys. There was also some other really cool stuff floating around and more. But these were the ones I thought that really stood out. So Superfest came and went. Good stuff. But that wasn't all. The Hakaba Gallery, they're not going to a store that we will be going to. I know we will in a few months. From January 16th to February 25th, they are having, so it happens tomorrow as we're recording this. So in Japan, it's already happening. They're doing this awesome Mechagodzilla pop-up shop that is honoring all things Mechagodzilla, all iterations of Mechagodzilla. And there's going to be toys and merch. And I just had to highlight some of this because these are like, they are not messing around. This is really good. And the Graveyard Gallery doesn't normally mess around anyway. So, it's going to be good. So a couple of toys. So Bullmark, they're doing Aurora version number 2. You sent me this, and that was the first time I saw it was when you sent it over to me. Now we love
beautiful.
We love the original Bullmark Aurora 2021 figure of the year, important figure. I think it really just revitalized the Aurora love across the board from us sofubi collectors. And so they're doing one with some more paint on the actual clear vinyl and on that little bit different paint. There's some gold on the missiles on the feet and the hands, as well as at the top of the crest and the eyes. It's a little bit different colorway, but you still get that Aurora effect. So that's great. And I mean, these aren't crazy. These aren't going to break the bank, right? Even in the secondhand market. So they're just they're an essential piece to any collection. Now, Strange Gallery, who I'm still waiting for that Pestar to come out because that's going to be one of my favorites. But they have this really cool Mechagodzilla that's coming out. It's about 7 inches tall. You can't tell from this photo. It's a little like, it's kind of like chibi style-esque to a degree, but the chest plate opens up. Okay, cool. It's like where the laser is, but the finger missiles, they actually pull out and there's like a little yellow tube where it looks like they're firing.
Oh, wow.
It's very, very cool. So
it's a very detailed figure.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Strange Gallery is awesome. They do great stuff. And so when you partner them with Hakaba, I mean, it's going to be awesome. So these are really cool. So these are like two really, I don't know, like, if anybody got these as like their primary pickup for the week, you'd be like, you had a damn good week.
Yeah, I mean, Aurora version 2 Mechagodzilla, I think is a must-have, especially if you already have the first one, because dude, as soon as I saw this, the first thing that popped in my mind was how good they will look together in a shelf. It will just be like jaw-dropping how good these two toys will go together. Yeah, that's a must-have.
Oh, but they didn't stop there. How about this? So, Bullmark, who does the Aurora, they're also doing this really cool, play on the old Bullmark missile package color. This is actually painted by Yuji Nishimura. This is 12 inches tall. It is very, 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 very cool. I love it. I thought of you and like your love of the
those
the Billiken windups and the Bullmark.
The vintage one I have looked at many times, and the vintage one is really hard to get. It is very expensive. So the fact that they're kind of putting this out, that is also a must-have. Look at that thing, dude. It's beautiful.
Yeah. And then the last one of well, not the last one, but the last one of the four we'll talk about here. This awesome 12-inch tall Mechagodzilla from Kaiju 1. Now, Kaiju 1 does really, really good stuff across the board. I think they're just everything about them is so good. Whether it's human sofubi, whether it's monsters, whether it's mechs, they do great stuff. And this 12-inch tall one is like the detail and the shading and stuff on the paint, even in this picture, looks stunning. So I'm really excited to see this actually in person. I think it'll be a jaw dropper.
Yeah. Also, both of these being 12 inches is
big. Yeah,
it's good.
And then this thing that you just told me about.
Hey,
yeah. So speaking of NeoPlayerOne, they're not going to get left out of this pop-up. They're going to come in with their Mechagodzilla 93. And you thought the Marmot Mechagodzilla 93 was going to be a tough one to get. How about the NeoPlayerOne? Holy buckets. This looks awesome. It's NeoPlayerOne-y. It's which I think Mechagodzilla 93 lends itself to very, very, very well. So
there's got those curves.
Yeah, the curves, man. And I don't know much about the details on cost and accessibility and how this is going to happen, but it's part of the pop-up. So I mean, I'm assuming some people are just going to be able to walk into the store and pick this bad boy up. And to those people, congratulations. I'm very sad that I'm not that person.
Yeah.
But this looks great.
Yeah, dude. Okay. All this stuff is really good. The Mechagodzillas are like, it's crazy. Dude, again, I feel like I say this every episode. The best thing about sofubi is that it makes you want things that you're not usually as interested in as far as like a character goes. I feel like Mechagodzilla has never been like my favorite kaiju, but I'm already have a good deal of Mechagodzilla sofubi, and it's just because he lends himself really well to a lot of different stuff.
Yeah, you can do some funky things with them. But hey, at Pop Store, they're gonna have some merch. So we got lots of clothes, we got fans, we got cups and mugs. My favorite thing is the umbrella, the first thing up there on the top row, because the top of it, each panel is like a different iteration of Mechagodzilla, which I thought was really cool. And so I think, some cool shirts, some cool, stuff. So and there's even more beyond this.
Yeah.
I
like some of these shirts. Cool stuff.
Me too. Yeah, I like the 75, the MG2, the white one with all the different colors.
That's the one I like. Yeah.
Of course. Really cool stuff. So, and there's a lot more stuff. So, man, just yay, Mechagodzilla. I mean, gosh, yay.
Hey, fuck Megalon, I guess, right?
I know, right?
Where's all the Megalon stuff from last year?
Oh, but hey, we had the Mechagodzilla pop-up. We had Superfest, but that's not all. We also had some other toy releases, some really cool stuff. Bullmark, they are busy over at Bullmark. I will give them some credit. Holy man, they are just like new stuff. It's crazy. It's like Christmas over there. So they're releasing the classic, Marusan plastic model kit, classic, J-tail type thing in this bright pink and blue. Love it. It's going to be amazing. And this really cool Bullmark Gigan. These are going to be Hakaba Gallery exclusives. The pre-order does start in about 9 days. U.S. shipping. They're going to be May deliveries, and these are going to be about $65, and then each, and then of course the shipping. But hey, you can get these, no excuse. Just
these are cool.
On January 24th, people go out there and order these, and everybody will be super happy. But these are great. Yeah. I love the colors. I like the Gigan a lot. I think the Gigan is really cool. So another event that happened on a couple days ago on January 12th was the 18th annual Nigata Special Effects screening event. And now they've done this a handful of times. In fact, if you remember at D-Con, some of those new Varans from Marusan were from the screening of Varan at the last Nagata Special Effects event.
Yeah.
And so this one, they did Return of Godzilla from 1984. So it was a free event. They had an awesome, or not free, a public event, but they had I guess he was the assistant special effects director on Return of Godzilla, Eiichi Asada, and he also did Tokyo SOS and Final Wars. He was the head special effects guy. He was there doing a Q&A. So you had that. You had the screening of 84, and you also had an exclusive Marusan classic Godzilla in this really cool burning style. Now, this is a little bit different than the scorching red that we saw, because this is actually a clear orange vinyl and painted from within. So it has a really cool effect. And this one you could buy at the Hashimoto Toy Store, which is also in Niigata. So like this is all kind of a one big event. How cool does that all sound? First off,
Yeah.
But this figure I think is beautiful. I think it's great.
Yeah, it's awesome. These colors, you know, that orange, you don't. It's like a creamy orange. You know,
Yeah.
you don't see that as much. Yeah, love it.
Yeah. So really cool stuff there. So more fun toys. Oh, and then also, yeah, there's more from Marusan. Speaking of those Marusan bastards who just are never stop. So about I don't even know now, going into G-Fest of last year. So, 7-8 months ago, the 70s toy store, which is a Japanese toy store, they released what they called this glow-in-the-dark Sakura version of Baragon. It's Baragon 450. It was kind of a lighter pink. It was really cool piece. I sold 5 or 6 of them through the store. They made like 30 or 40. It was a great piece. And then they came up with a blue one. I didn't realize it was part of a trilogy, they called it. And they call it the Kawakin trilogy. There's the Sakura, the pink, there's the Hokusai blue, and then there's this one, which they call the Homura, the flame version. And all I could, in my translating, using Google Translate, the best I could do was their tagline was the Kawakin series is taking kawaii to the next level. Okay. Why that has to do with pink, blue, and flame, I don't know. But they're all 450s. They're all really cool. And this one might be my favorite of the 3 from a color standpoint. It looks so good. I love it. And this is the final act in their Baragon 450 release trilogy, the Homura flame version.
Yeah, so, I love how shiny he is. It's good.
Yeah, I just love that sculpt too. It's great. Oh, hey, what Anraku? We got a new Anraku. This was announced yesterday, 2 days ago. The 55 is getting its second colorway. Now, you saw the 55 in person at DCon. They kind of a darkish green, almost gray. So this is one that's a little bit more of that red, ruddy brown type color.
This is clay. This looks
yeah. It's the clay version. So this one, the lottery starts on the 24th. So in about 10 days, 9-10 days, and it'll run through the 10th, and it's shipping in June, allegedly. I don't believe Medicom shipping dates on any Anrakus anymore, but who cares? They're all awesome. I'll wait as long as I need to. But yeah, so go try to win this guy. He's great. He's wonderful. I love the green stripe down the middle. I think he's 55's never looked so good. So this is the next lottery that we'll see from these cats. But, speaking of Anraku, I totally skimmed over one. The lottery just ended when we chatted last time. Totally looked over, and it was my fault. I just was like, didn't even see it, or when I saw it, I didn't even register. They did a Legion.
Whoa.
Yeah. And I asked everybody here, did anybody win this? Because I forgot to apply for the lottery. So shame on me. I'm not even a real collector anymore. And so this is this was cool. I mean, it's huge. It's actually more expensive than their typical ones. If you win it in the lottery price. He's big. He's big and he's huge and very Anraku. Yeah. He's Legion. So so this is another cool one to add to the Gameras that they have. So
yeah, not seeing a whole lot of Legion out there in the first place. So it's cool.
You don't. I'm glad that you had him, Gappa, and Gomera. Like you had some like odd Anraku picks for this year,
dude.
which is great. No, I love that.
They're killing it. Yeah.
They know what's up, man. They do like just to sprinkle enough variety to keep all of us crazies like interested. But then, they know that I got to get out to 3 or 4 Godzillas a year. Bam, we're good. But yeah, so Anraku. And then also, hey, maybe the first time ever, we're talking about Banpresto. And I wanted to put these in here because, we talk so much about sofubi and these designer toys and things that are harder to get. You can't just go to somewhere and buy it and be done with it, right? These are really cool because these are Banpresto, but these you can get anywhere for $30 or under. I mean, Big Bad Toy Store, Entertainment Earth, anywhere. You can go and buy these really cool 7-inch tall chibi style Gamera 99s. And I think they look really cool. And like I said, the accessibility and the price are easy and on the lower end. And bam, you can get these, and these are great. I love Banpresto. They do such wacky stuff. But these are awesome. And so I wanted to make sure to throw something out that's a little bit different than everything else we normally talk about. But it's also very, very cool.
Yeah. We also, I feel like we don't get to talk about Gamera as much. So
yeah.
What's
What's up with that? I mean, Kadokawa needs to be a little less tight with their licensing.
Gamera.
Give that license out. But yeah, so then that's all I got, and then we can talk about if Varan is really that unbelievable.
Cool. We'll talk about this movie, I guess. Jay, I'm baffled as to why you picked this, why you said you've watched this more than one time. I can't imagine myself ever watching this movie again. Tell me what I missed. Tell me why I found this to be... Hey, I found it to be unbelievable. Unbelievably boring.
Yes, that was the title of this episode. How did you know that?
I did not like this movie almost at all. I just found it to be... It's so weird. It came out like 4 years after Godzilla, where it's like
2 years after Rodan.
It's as if it's the same. Yeah, but you know what the thing is like Rodan is a very good film. And
great film. It's an excellent
Rodan,
film.
the story of Rodan and the ending, it's moving. You get sad when you get to the end of Rodan. Varan just felt like they were like, hey, let's just do Godzilla again, but without all the good. That's what I felt. I don't know. Tell me, what am I missing? Tell me, explain to me this movie.
You know what you missed?
What's that?
Absolutely nothing, because you're absolutely correct. And I said it's the definition of insanity. Because I remember getting this because, I can remember going back to like 11, 12-year-old Jay, right? And reading about Varan, the movie and stuff in G-Fan and trying to get the copies. And finally I found the US version, which is worse than the Japanese version. If that's possible, I promise you it is.
Jay, I was reading, apparently the US version only has 17 minutes of the original. What's the rest of the fucking US version? What's in it if it's only 17 minutes?
Myron Healy. It's kind of like the King of the Monsters, the 56 thing where it's like there's all those cut scenes where it's it's that. There's no flying squirrel. I mean, it is. I will say this about, and I don't have much good to say about the film Varan, but I do want to, as we talk, I've some slides and some facts and some fun stuff like that. Like I do want to separate the monster from the film. Because I
like the design.
Yeah, I like Varan. And I think some shots are actually well done, but there's nothing redeeming about this movie. But where he's unbelievably boring, the American version is unbelievably unwatchable. So it's very bad. It is, I'll give them this. It is like watching two different movies. It's not like a subtle, this point it looks different, or this scene or what. No, it's like what the hell?
Yeah.
No, dude, you are because my name of it, the next slide is AKA a movie so boring, even the lead monster tries to hide from it. Coincidentally, my favorite shots in the movie are him hiding under the water behind the rock as the depth charges come down. Yes, this movie's so boring. But the reason I've watched this movie so many times is, I remember reading about it, and when I found the US copy, the VHS, and I can still remember finding it in a store. I think it was a Starlog store when they had those stores, maybe. And I got it and I took it home and I watched it, and I was just like, I didn't like that. And so I watched it again. And every so often I'll watch it. I feel like I forget.
Hoping that you're gonna like find something within it that you didn't know.
That like, am I missing the beauty? Am I missing the majesty? I've read 1,000 reviews and they all say the same thing. And I agree with those 1,000 reviews. There's nothing, and I love Varan so much. One of my favorite sofubi items that I own and toys that I own is a marmot Marmot Gallery Varan, and I can almost trace like when I was like, no, I'm full on sofubi. This is like what I love. That figure factors into that. It was truly where I was like, oh, this is beautiful. I love it. And I just want to love it. And I want to like everything about it. And I think there's a lot of reasons why I want to do that. Because it has the dream team. It has everything on paper. You know, in sports, we call them a paper tiger, man. It is on paper. It should be a champion piece. It should be Godzilla. It should be Rodan. And it is not. It is the most boring piece of cinema in Kaiju history.
I felt bad for Honda watching this because I was like, I kind of was almost embarrassed on his behalf. Yeah. I was like, this dude made Godzilla, and only 4 years after making literally like a groundbreaking film. You know, whether you're a Kaiju fan or not, Godzilla is a groundbreaking movie, and making something 100%. Like that and that's meaningful. And then it's like you're trying to rip off your own thing 4 years later with Varan. And it was just like, I'm like, man, it is like the most basic plot out of any Kaiju. I was just like, this sucks, man. I was like, I don't know, man. It was almost painful getting through this. And I imagined you liked it because I was like, man, if Jay picked this for us to watch, he must like it. So I was like, the whole time I was like, what is this? Am I just not getting it? Or is this just one of Jay's
weird parts?
The only thing I really liked about it was hearing all the old other Godzilla music in it, because all the music is, whether it was here first or in other Godzilla movies first, the music is all you'll recognize most of it,
100%. And the roars and stuff. Well, so I have a couple of facts. Fun might be a stretch, but they're facts. And after this, I actually have a couple little slides on is it possible to fix the film Varan? And like, the answer is no, but I have some reasons. Like, I've been thinking literally for decades on like, why is this film so boring? And that started me down like an 8-part lecture series that I'm going to start on. There's a lot. And so I tried to like simplify what I think is wrong with this film, other than just saying it's boring, because it is that. And in the truest sense of the word, but why is it boring? But we'll get to that in a second. But I do want to share some facts about Varan, both the film and the monster, because, you know, he doesn't get as much love. He is kind of like almost, his love for people is almost ironic, because it's like, because he doesn't get any love. He is this kind of like, you know, this character that is just like this monster that just, you know, like the people that really truly love him just do it because they feel like they have to, out of pity. But number one, this was the last time Toho did a black and white film. I didn't know that actually.
That's cool.
You always hear Rodan as the first color film from Toho, but I never thought of Varan 2 years later was the last black and white. So that's a good fact to know in trivia.
Sure.
This one I know you know, but I had to put it in there because its singular point is obviously Godzilla Amphibia is based on a Varan. It actually uses the Varan roar, which in turn is, we'll get to that in a second. But yes, everything about it is Varan, to the, you know, to the shell, the soft underbelly, everything about it, the jawline, the gigantic hands. Like, I mean, it's Varan, which I'm glad they did. I think it's a cool homage. Okay, speaking of Varan's roar, so it's a combination of the Rodan screeches and Godzilla's 54 roars. Very obvious when you hear it, like very, very obvious. But then they took that mashup and they changed a little bit to make to come up with Baragon and Gorosaurus and Megalon. Like, parts of it were sampled for those and changed for those roars. Also, and this in itself made me so happy, because remember, you know, Latitude Zero, we always talk about the Griffin, but remember the crazy Batmen that were in the lair? The Batmen sounds were also sampled from Varan. Amazing. Pagos, Pagea, Namagon, Naranga, lots of Ultra monsters. So I thought that was.
It's not all bad.
It's not all bad. He you know, he
did some
died
good.
So other people could be awesome kaiju. So the roars. Number 7. So, you know, as a herpetologist, hobbyist, you would know this, but I did not. So the Varanopode, that the Varan in the movie, is likely based on an actual family or genus. I guess it would be a family of amniotes from the Paleozoic, so like I guess late Cambrian, similar to present day monitor lizards called Varanipidae or Varanipidae. Anyway, they're the one things like Dimetrodon. They're mammal-like reptiles, right? Or, sorry, they're reptile-like mammals. They're actually closer to mammals, synapsids or whatever they're called. Yeah. But anyway, so that was likely an inspiration for the naming, and everything. So like, hey, there's actually some science going into this, still bastardized, but they said they said he lived in the Triassic to Cretaceous period. So they're in the Mesozoic instead of the Paleozoic, but whatever. We're okay. In the whole scheme of the movie, that's the least offensive.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
But yeah, I thought that was kind of neat that it had some, background there. Fun fact number 6, Varan is the only non-humanoid Toho Kaiju with 5 digits on his hand.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah. So he can do some things.
Yeah.
With that, it'd been nice to see him do some more things of that. Number 5.
Sure.
The second generation Varan, the one that we see briefly in Destroy All Monsters, has been noted by Tomoyuki Tanaka nonetheless. So if anybody's allowed to say something, it's the producer of all of this, is having poison spines on his back. His spines are poisonous. Though we never got to see it because he did nothing in the film. Because
he did nothing.
He was
much like in Varan.
Much like in Varan. At least in this one, they had the excuse of the suit was destroyed and they only had like a 2-foot tall puppet they had to use. It's like at least they had an excuse in this one. But yeah, second generation Varan. Okay, I love this. So Kozo Nomura, who was in a ton of Toho movies, like tons. He's the lead. I guess you could call him the lead in this. I was like, I know him. I feel like he's always kind of the random scientist, military person, geologist, you name it, right? But where I was thinking of him from was he's an Ultra Q. He's the giant in the Metamorphosis episode. Yeah. So I was like, oh my gosh, that's him. So
that's very cool.
I never had put 2 and 2 together until I saw that. I was like, oh yeah, oh he is.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty cool. But he has a unique look, and he's in so many movies.
Right.
I thought this was cool. So the back scales on the suit were actually made of pressed peanut shells. And as the story goes, the only reason that this even was thought of to be a technique to use on that was the 2 of the sculptors. Murase was on there, but the brothers, the Yagi brothers, Kanju and Yasue, they got these as like holiday presents. I guess presents. They had a ton from family members. They had a ton of peanuts, and they ate them on the set. And apparently, Subaraya and them they said, "Hey, we want to see what we can do with these pressed peanuts." And ultimately, Subaraya was not overly happy with the product. They said, I think the quote was that it looked too muscular. So I know Murase stepped in and tried to change them up a little bit and make it less muscular looking and stuff. But yeah, those are all pressed peanut shells that they did in the that they had for the back, which I love. I love the back scales because they're unique, right? They're like not anything else that other kaiju have, and maybe for good reason. But I thought it was cool. But yeah, so a little fun story, like just you think of like not even that these were low budget relative to the rest of special effects at that time in Japan, but like just kind of making stuff out of anything and like just to be able to create a cool look with something so mundane. I think it was really cool.
Yeah.
Then number 2, I thought this was the most important thing about Varan and the Italian version of Destroy All Monsters, which is called The Heirs of King Kong. Of course it is, right? Varan is actually mentioned by name in Destroy All Monsters. The only version is in Italy. So Italy, I think he might be the patron kaiju of Italy from moving forward.
Love
I think
him
Varan. They love it. Varan is huge in Italy. And the number 1 fact, and this is a fact that we've talked about, go back to our Unmade Godzilla episodes. This is a fact that we talk about with Varan quite a bit. We mentioned all of these. It's the what could have been. What could have been with Varan. He was originally, in the original script for Destroy All Monsters, he was supposed to have a bigger part with Rodan attacking King Ghidorah in the All Monsters Attack directive before it became Destroy All Monsters. Before it became Godzilla vs. Gigan, one of the mini scripts, Return of King Ghidorah, I think that was the second treatment. He was an Earth monster that teamed with Godzilla and Rodan to defeat Gigan, Ghidorah, and Mogu, which was this like space dragon guy. Then it was an original story pitch in Heisei to have him be kind of Godzilla's final foe. Then that ended up being Destroyer. There were a few other ones that in between, but that was one that was originally pitched, was him to be this like bringer of the apocalypse giant monster Varan. Could you imagine like Trendmasters Heisei style Varan in there? That'd have been amazing.
I mean, I do own. Hey, I think the only Varan toy I own is the Trendmasters Varan, which is crazy.
And then the one that everybody knows is, it was originally him, Baragon, and Anguirus in GMK, and they had to be more marketable. And Toho said, nope, let's do Ghidorah and Mothra. And the reason they did that was because Megaguirus sucked at the box office. So another reason to hate Megaguirus. Yeah. But
those designs are amazing. Those designs,
they look like guardian monsters.
They're really great looking. Especially the Anguirus.
Yeah, and the script, the actual script is available. Like you can go to Toho Kingdom or wherever and look up the script that was written for this, because it was done. And then they had to go kind of retcon it to be Mothra and Ghidorah. And then poor Baragon got his name taken out of the title. I'm like, geez, they are just like scorched earth here on these guys. But Varan, Anguirus, and Baragon, they all fit that like earth guardian type monster thing. I love it. I wish I loved to seen them in there. So Varan, like said, he just what could have been. He's almost like he almost had his big breakout moment, and it just never happened.
Maybe it still will.
No, probably not. So I put a little thing together called Fixing Varan. Now here, Jake, this is where I want to show that, guarantee that you did not miss anything. This is a boring movie, and I just tried to verbalize some of the things, a couple points that I think are really, I struggle with, and I've always struggled with, and I don't understand why this is not like, you didn't have to be the greatest storyteller in the world to do a much better story than this. This is not asking this is not like hard stuff. And I just want everybody to remember, this film has no excuses. It has the A team from production. It has Honda, Sekizawa, Tanaka, Ifukube, Tsuburai, and Nakajima. It has an amazing cast with Harada and Tsuchiya and Tajima and all these guys. Like, this is not like the C team trying to put something together. Like these guys, like they just had a bad day. Yeah. They all had a bad day. So here's number one, and feel free to chime in and disagree or agree and say like, yeah, I feel like there's a big miss on the Varan backstory. He doesn't, it's not like he was created by, atomic bomb testing, and that's the backstory of how he's become this. How did he survive millions of years? Like, it's just like, oh yeah, he's a prehistoric beast, the end. It's like, there's nothing about his backstory, his origins, that is original or even compelling in the least. And I think that's, if you're not going to have a compelling backstory of your kaiju, it's already struggling right there. Like, why is this dude this big? They never even spent like, how did he get this big? Right. So anyway, I think that was a big miss. And not only did he need a backstory, the dude, the kaiju, he needed some motivation. He comes out of his lake after millions of years because some kid chased his dog down near his lake. Like, what? Or some dude chasing some butterflies? Like, come on. Like, how has that not happened for millions of years? I just don't understand that. And then, a little bit of like, I don't know, a reason for him to actually like leave the island and just head to Tokyo to destroy it. He wasn't going after, he didn't want to eat nuclear reactors. He didn't like, why is he chasing a woman? Like, what is he doing? Like, I just felt like there was no motivation for him to leave his lake, nor leave the island and go to, or not the island, the area, the area of Japan, not the island. Sorry. To go to Haneda Airport. I don't get it.
Yeah, no, it really feels like it feels like they came up with the idea of making this movie in a week, and we're like, just go.
Maybe a day.
Yeah, I don't understand. Hey, you know what else I don't understand? I wonder if it's one of your, maybe You know what? I'll let you do the rest of these and see if make sure it's not one of your numbers before I.
Number 3, I think a lot of that we just talked about kind of plays into it needed to be smaller in scope. Like if he stayed on the island and he was just terrorizing a group of nosy scientists or people that were trying to mess up with the islanders, is that original? No. But it makes it a little bit more sense, and it allows us to get deeper into the mythology and the religion and the goings on of the islanders, of the natives, the Baragati. Like why is he thought of to be this Baragati mountain god? Like I just feel like they're like, he's a big monster, therefore he has to go to the city, and he doesn't even make it to the city, to the airport. And I just felt like if Varan stayed on the island, he wouldn't have been exposed as like boring because in the film, he's not a credible threat. He does nothing. He swats a giant plane out of the air and destroys some trees and steps on an old dude. Like, that's about it, right? I mean, he has no powers. I mean, when you see Godzilla, you see Rodan. Rodan destroys whole cities with his flaps of his wings. Godzilla has the radioactive breath and is just crushing giant, toppling buildings and crushing cities. Varan swims.
Yeah. Varan's like, just hanging out.
He's just chilling, dude. I mean, he's flying and gliding and swimming, going for a nice swim, and then he wants to go catch a flight. I mean, it really, like, he knocks over like a 10th of Haneda Airport. That's like his footprint, you know? I never get that tension like this monster is going to destroy Tokyo and then the world. Never happens. Like, it's just like, once again, stay on the island. He can kill some islanders. That's easy.
You kind of hit it what I was gonna say in your number 3 here. What the fuck is Baragati? How come this movie starts and they're all like Baragati, and I'm like, well, this movie's called Varan. Why do they call him Baragati for the first 20 minutes, and then when he shows up, he's Varan? Why not just make him Baragati or just make him Varan? I don't understand why there's 2 different names. I do not. It makes no sense to me.
Yeah, because the Islanders think he's the mountain god Baragati, and then when he comes out,
but he's not. He's just another. He just happens to be another monster. They should have just called him Baragati. They should have just called him Baragati. Just make this
way cooler. 100%. No, that's the thing. It's like what is the connection between, like, why do they think he is? Like, what are the stories? I need something to latch on to why this freaking dude matters.
That was so dumb.
So dumb. I had to put a couple of the human plot because I felt like the main lead Kenji is a weak lead protagonist, a weak hero, and then Akiko Harada comes in as this doctor, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I invented this special dynamite." I was like, okay, first off, like, that's convenient, but also I feel like almost like in my head, I've always thought like, what's his story? Like maybe he goes to the island or kills something because he's testing his dynamite or whatever, and then it comes back and he has to sacrifice himself to save it with his special dynamite, like basically a Serizawa type story. But like he's a way more interesting character than freaking Kenji, who's just this lackey who like kind of has a love interest but doesn't. There's like no human tension in this entire film. They're just truly just there, and it is just worthless. Like it is. There's nothing there. There's like, once again, Godzilla. The human element is great. The human plot, the human story is great. It's that B storyline to the rampaging monster. Rodan, once again, comparing it there. It's a great story. It is what's killing these miners. This is like the people were there for exposition and like some screaming moments and stuff. And it is just like, ugh, it's like, do something. I just felt it was really poorly done. And so that when you have a boring monster with no backstory, way out of scope with what he's actually doing, and then no human story to support it, recipe for disaster. And the last thing I got to say, so I feel the movie starts strong in the sense that, and I say starts like first 3 minutes, the whole like, there's this butterfly that's only found in Siberia, and we just discovered it in the central region of Japan. The world has to be out of balance. Okay, cool, man. How does that tie into Varan?
Right. They don't expand on it at all.
Nothing. Yeah. It just dropped. There's no butterflies.
It's just a reason. They just use that as a reason to get them to the location.
Yeah, and get there, and also the girl's brother gets killed, and it's like, oh, I came to pick up his effects. The end. It's like, oh, you seem really sad about it. But also the funniest thing is, and I wrote on here, this is totally unfair of me to do it, but I didn't watch this. It's not my third monster movie I ever saw. I didn't watch them in chronological order, when I was 10 years old. But how many times? I mean, every trope that we make fun of kaiju movies for, this, maybe they started it here, but like literally. I know you don't drink, but one of the scariest drinking games is every time somebody looks into binoculars, take a drink, because the movie should just be called Varan looking into binoculars.
Well, Jay, you know what I noticed is how many times people look at their watches in this movie.
Oh yeah,
I was like,
don't blame them.
People keep looking at their watches so much that there's two completely different scenes that just show the ticking hands of a watch, and I was like, why are they showing this?
And that's the most action in the movie. But literally, there's always reporters. The end cast is always on this majestic cliff or in a field, all peering out, thinking this thought as the movie ends, and he dies in the sea. It's like you just have a lot of scientists saying crap, and you have lots of military people doing things with maps, and a lot of people sitting at a table talking about stuff and giving their thoughts. It is just tropey and boring. And so I always like to say, oh man, I forgot to delete. Sorry, this guy should not be in the middle there. Sorry, I forgot to delete that that side in the middle. But I was gonna say my two favorite things are anything that Bob Eggleton does. But also the Godzilla version of this Varan is amazing, because not only is he cool looking because he's the puppet and he flies, he also turns into when you see him, he's a flying squirrel, and then he turns into Varan after he hides as a flying squirrel, which is amazing. So why couldn't those two versions be used? I love the Bob, how he drew the Godzilla in hell Varan, which like the eyes are pupilless and orange and really good stuff. But I have to say, like, I love Varan the creature. I like that he's simple, he's interesting, but yet he's still like a Triphibian. I like that he hangs out underwater and just like, please let this movie end. It's terrible. I love the toys. I love so much about Varan. The film is not one of them.
Yeah.
And
it's kind of a bummer. It's kind of a bummer, and I don't have much more to say. The only thing I would say is the movie sucks. They can't all be winners, I guess.
Yeah.
What I suggest anybody watch this, the only reason I would say yes is because if you're trying to be, if you're in love with Godzilla and Kaiju, and you're trying to see one of the best things about some of these old movies, we've talked about this before, is that there was like a cinematic universe back before that was a cool thing to do with Rodan and Mothra, and those are both classics. Yeah. This is included. It might be the worst of them, but it is included. So if you
the Quantum Mania of Toho.
Yeah, if you want to be a completist, then check it out. It's only an hour and 26 minutes or something. But it is not good. I thought I was going crazy. I was like, does Jay love this? I was like, I was like, out of what we chose, out of our choices for this week, I was like, Jay picked this. He must like it. But
so
Jay,
there were two reasons. So I picked it selfishly because of one, I thought it would be funny as a counter balance to Super Inframan. I mean, the most opposite films of all
highs
time.
And lows. Yeah,
so like goofy and bright and bold and But also, I was like, I needed, for my own mental sanity, I needed to get down why I think this movie is boring and terrible on paper.
Get it out of your system.
This is my therapy session. If you can't tell,
therapy. Sure.
I've had a long history with Varan, and because like I said, I love the kaiju, and I've seen this movie way too many times, and now I feel like, honestly, a weight's been lifted off my shoulders. I don't think I have to ever watch this movie again.
You don't.
I know.
You don't, and neither do I. And don't think that I will. Jay, you got anything else to say on Varan?
Oh no, I think I've said enough for a lifetime.
Anybody who's listening, please. I watched it, so you should go watch it too. Other than that, we're gonna be back in 2 weeks, talking about something. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. We're gonna be talking about something good in 2 weeks. Let's just go ahead and say that. I don't know what, but it will be something good. All right, guys, we're out of here. Bye.